Alright guys, in this video we're going to be going over variables and dictionaries. Our main focus will be on dictionaries, but we'll go over variables just to see how they are similar and different. Both variables and dictionaries allow us to store data, so we'll see their similarities and we'll see the differences in how they allow us to store data. So in our first section, we're going to talk about variables, and we'll see three main ideas. We'll see a variable declaration, we'll see variable assignment, and finally we'll see variable reassignment and what that looks like and what we can do with that. All right, so variable declaration is simply creating the variable or telling the computer to create this variable. So we're going to create a variable called my name, and it will store my name. So we're going to say my underscore name. And that first part, typing the name of the variable, is declaring the variable. Now, when we do assignment, we simply put the equal sign or the assignment operator, and we put the value there. So now we're going to say my name is equal to Brian Chambers. So the first part, typing the name of the variable, is declaration. And then we use the assignment operator or the equal sign to assign a value to that variable. So if we think of variables as buckets, declaration is simply putting a label on that bucket. So in our case, this bucket would be a random empty bucket, and we put the label my underscore name on it. And finally, the data we put inside that bucket is the string Brian Chambers. So let's make one more variable. Let's say this variable is called age. So I declared the variable by typing the name of the variable, age. And now I'll use the equal sign or the assignment operator. And finally, I'll assign a value by putting the value 24. So we have two variables, my name and age, and we use the assignment operator, the equal sign, to store different values in them. So right there we have declaration and assignment. So I'm going to delete the first variable, my name, so I can demonstrate the concept of reassignment. So when I print age in line 2, let's see what the output is. So in our console, we can see that the output is 24. But let's say later on in my program, my age changes. Let's say I'm now 25. When I print age in line 5, and I'll put some labels on these. So I'll put line 2. And I'll put line 5. So let's see what happens when I print this. So you can see the console, it says line 2, 24, and line 5, 25. So all that happens is that imagine we have our bucket, and initially we put the number 24 in it, and then we empty our bucket in line 4, we empty our bucket, and we put the number 25 in it. So variable reassignment is simply changing the value that was stored inside the variable. Alright guys, so in this section, we'll be talking about dictionaries, and we'll focus on three main things. We'll focus on how we define or create dictionaries. We'll focus on how to manipulate dictionaries, so basically how to add the data to dictionaries and how to access data in dictionaries. And then last, I'll show you some very useful methods for dictionaries and also how you can find even more methods to use with your dictionaries. Alright, so the first thing we'll do in this section is show you how to define or create a dictionary. And it's actually very similar to how we define variables. So the first thing we need for our dictionary is the name. So for our first dictionary, we're going to make a dictionary to hold the birthdays of our close friends. So I'm going to call it birthdays. And again, the names of variables in dictionaries, they're kind of arbitrary. It makes sense to choose a name that relates to the data, but you can ultimately name it anything as long as you follow the rules of the variables, right? But we're going to call ours birthdays, and we're going to assign it a value, so we need to use the assignment operator or the equal sign. And next we open these square braces. So first thing we do is we need to make use of something called key value pairs. So the way those works is you have a key. So let's say we have a friend called Joanne, right? And then you have a value, and then Joanne's birthday is May 5th, 1997. Now, key value pairs are just that. You have a key, and then that key's value. And the way you separate them is by using a colon. Not a semicolon, just a colon, right? But like I said, this dictionary is going to store the birthdays of our close friends. So we need to have more data inside it. So the way you separate these different entries in the dictionary is with a comma. Next, we're going to add our friend Sean. And Sean's birthday is June 13th, 1987. Our next friend is Lisa. And Lisa's birthday is December 5th, 1990. And finally, we'll add our friend Olu. And Olu's birthday is January 10th, 2000. So this is how we create our dictionary, right? But the next thing that's important is to be able to access the data in a dictionary. So the way that we do that is by typing the name of the dictionary and by then putting the key that we want to access. So let's say I want to see my friend Olu's birthday. I'll put Olu's name as the key, and let's see what happens when I print this value. Okay. When I hit run, it shows me January 10th, 2000, right? Which is Olu's birthday. Let's say I want to see Lisa's birthday. It prints December 5th, 1990. Last, let's see Sean's birthday. June 13th, 1987. So similar to a variable, dictionaries hold data, but they hold data in a different way. And the important thing is just being able to see what it looks like. And then from there, when you create your own program, finding out which one would be more useful for you, depending on what you're trying to do. So now we'll see how to add more things to the dictionary after we've created it. So let's say I meet this new person, and her name is Jennifer. So I call the name of the dictionary birthdays, and then I put some square brackets right here, right? And I put the key. So Jennifer, the name is the key, right? So remember, we have key value pairs. So I put the key, and then finally I put an equal sign, and I give it its value. So Jennifer's birthday is November 28th of 2001. So then when I go to print birthdays, and I give it the key Jennifer, it should give me November 28th, 2001. So let's see what happens when I hit run. Yep, November 28th, 2001. So far we've seen how to create, access, and now add to our dictionary. But let's see what happens. Let's see how we can change the data inside a dictionary. So let's say when I first met Olu, I misheard her. You know, her birthday isn't actually January 10th, 2000. Let's say her birthday was actually January 11th, 2000. So the way to change it is by simply saying birthdays, then finding the key you want to change, and then reassigning a value to it. So this again is very similar to a variable because we can set the value initially and then change it afterwards if we need to. So I'm going to give it a new birthday. So before the change, if I print Olu's birthday, and I'll just label it before change. And we can actually call this variable reassignment, right? Or not even variable reassignment, but just reassignment, because we're changing the value inside our storage. All right, but let's see, before the change, and now let's see after the change. All right. So yeah, before the change, we have a value of January 10th, 2000, and after the change, it's January 11th, 2000. All right, so that's our basics for dictionaries. In the next section, we will take a look at methods for dictionaries. Okay, so in this section, we're going to take a look at some basic methods for dictionaries. We're going to cover 4 of them: the items method, the pop method, the pop item method, and the clear method. Afterwards, I'll show you where to go if you want to find more methods and you want to see more examples of how you can use these methods. Alright guys, so for these methods, I've made a new dictionary, and this dictionary has the capitals of a few Caribbean countries. So the keys are the Caribbean countries. So in our first one, the key is Bahamas, and its value is Nassau. In our second one, the key is Cuba, and its value is Havana. So our first method is the items method, and what that does is it prints out all of the key value pairs in our dictionary. So the way we use it is we type the name of our dictionary, so capitals, then we put a dot, and then we say items, and we need to put our parentheses. So I'm going to print this out. And when I hit run, on the right, we can see all of our dictionary, right? So we see Bahamas and its value Nassau. We see Cuba and Havana, Dominican Republic and Santo Domingo, Haiti and Port-au-Prince, Jamaica and Kingston, St. Lucia and Castries, and finally we see Trinidad and Tobago and Port of Spain. So that is our items method. It simply displays all of the key value pairs inside our dictionary. All right, so our next method is actually the pop method. And what the pop method does is it allows us to remove a certain key value pair. So let's say I want to remove Jamaica from this list. I would call pop, and I would put the key of the entry I want to remove. So I would say capitals.pop Jamaica, right? And what will happen is that after this will no longer be inside our dictionary. So I'm going to show you the before pop method. And I'll show you the after. Okay, so if this works correctly, then we should not see Jamaica in our dictionary afterwards. So let's hit run and see what happens. So before the pop method, we see Jamaica right here. But after the pop method, we jump from Haiti straight to St. Lucia, which shows us what happens, right? The pop method simply removes the key value pair that has the key that we passed, right? So in line 14, we passed the key Jamaica, and it removed that key value pair. All right, so our next method, the pop item method, is similar, except the pop item method does not take in a key because it will always only remove the last element in our dictionary. So let me show you a before and after one more time. Okay, let me hit run. So if you notice, before the pop item method, our last entry is Trinidad and Tobago and Port of Spain. You can see that right here. And after our pop item method, our last entry actually becomes St. Lucia and Castries. So the pop item method simply removes the last item from our dictionary. And our final method is the clear method. And the clear method does what the name says. It simply removes everything from our dictionary. Okay. And I hit run. So when I hit run, we see our dictionary being populated before, but then afterwards, it is an empty dictionary. So those are the four basic methods we'll go over. Next, I'll show you where to go if you want to find out more about dictionary methods. Alright guys, so the last thing we'll see is the website to find more information about dictionaries. So it is realpython.com, and then when you go there, you just type in the search bar dictionaries, and you can see a bunch of articles coming up. So fourth one right here, and the first one are good resources.